and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursdays, the series where we highlight and uplift Black men, because frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I'm super excited to bring to you this brother today. This brother is a native Philadelphian who now lives in a little town in New Jersey, is a husband to a beautiful wife who actually has a doctorate of 20 years, and their two beautiful children in college and in high school. He himself, multiple degrees and educated man. We're just so happy to have him here today. Please welcome Mr. Marlowe Smith. Hi, Marlowe. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And so, Marlowe, we are here to contribute to the repository of the King Crush Thursday, which is just 6 questions that we're asking these positive Black men. So 6 questions on our way to 100 answers from 100 different Black men, with the goal of one day having a young king who may or may not have positive Black male role models in his life, that he can come and look at this repository, see these same 6 questions, and read all of these different answers or hear all these different answers, and perhaps find guidance in those things, in those answers. And perhaps for the rest of us who are maybe neither Black or even male, that we too can actually come to this repository and learn a bit more about a group of people who, in my estimation, are undervalued, underappreciated, and underrepresented. Only a microcosm of Black maleness, if you will, is seen in the media and any place else. And we want to expand that narrative. So I'm so glad that you're here to participate and to increase our knowledge. And with that, I'm going to get started with the first question, which is, what does manhood mean to you?
Yeah, manhood means to me, I'd say in a nutshell, responsibility. That's the main thing I think about being a man. The difference that separates, a young person from when they're growing up and when they're learning, people that come alongside them, whether it be their parents, whether it be older friends, siblings, teachers, coaches, we all need someone to help guide us. The problem with being young, I think sometimes, is that you think you know it all. Having 2 teens in my house, I experienced a little bit of that myself. They're full of energy and full of life, but sometimes I think they think they have everything all mapped out. And you can always gain from some knowledge and of the experience of others. And I think that's why mentoring, I think, to me, is so important. You're able to impart knowledge that you've gone through yourself, or that you've seen others go through, and you can talk about some of the potential challenges, some of the pitfalls, and also give them some good advice to help them get on a good path to make sure that they can achieve their goals. So manhood to me, I think, at the end of the day, it boils down to being responsible to yourself, to your family, to your neighborhood, to your community, to the larger society at a whole. Because I think, the building block of any great society starts at home. So if your home is good, if your home is tight, if you've got good mentors, I think it really gives people a leg up and gives them an advantage that not many other people have. So I think for me, I'd say the main thing about manhood is making sure that your sphere of influence, everybody there is doing the best that they possibly can.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much. So Marlowe, who and or what is important to you?
Wow. Definitely family. I love my family. My family, obviously is the first place where I knew and experienced love. My mother, Athanasius Smith, man, that woman, she embodied the word love. She unfortunately passed last year, but she was, throughout her 77 years, an amazing beacon of light, love, joy, and care. I mean, you know, this is a woman who was born down south, so she had those Southern qualities, you know, where she was like, hey, come on in, baby. You know, she'd feed anybody. You know, she always greet people with a hug and a kiss. You know, people, friends I might have met, you know, later in life, bring them by the house and, hey, come on in. And, you know, she's talking to them like she's known them for like 20, 30 years. You know, that's just, you know, how she was. And she just showed that to everybody. So I definitely had a great example, you know, from her. And so that's why family is so important to me. And my parents were kind of a yin and yang. So my mom was, you know, more of the, expressive, the loving kind. And then my dad, you know, he's more of the logical, by the book, matter of fact kind of person. So I think I got a good mixture of that growing up. So I think my personality was forged by them. You know, plus I had really good friends that I grew up with. Most of the friends I have, and I'm 48 years old. I've known most of my friends for about 48 years, you know, because we literally grew up all in the same block. The good thing for me is I was one of the younger guys. Most of my friends or my neighbors were a year, 2, 3 years, 4 years older than I was. So I had the opportunity to kind of, you know, experience, see what they were doing, and, you know, be able to say, yeah, I don't know if I would have done that if I was in his shoes, or I wouldn't have done that if I were in her shoes. And it kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of sit back and observe. And I was able to take, you know, pieces from, you know, like this person, I like their drive, or I like this person because, you know, they were always focused on education, or I like this other person because they had an outgoing personality, or had, you know, this person because they had a different trait that I found commendable that, you know, I might want to take and incorporate into my own. So, you know, family and friends definitely for me, you know, help mold me, help shape me. And even, you know, friends that I've gotten, you know, since I've become an adult, you know, some of the more, you know, dear, caring, loving people to me. And I can't say, you know, even though this lady's not blood, I got to say Miss Vicki Matthews, she is like my mentor. I met her when I did an internship at my first corporate job. And man, she's like my second mom. I mean, I told her if I ever become famous, I want her to be my PR person, because, you know, she thinks so highly of me. Probably even more highly I think of myself sometimes, but she's fantastic. And, you know, she calls me her son. I call her my mom. And, you know, since my mom's passed on, I told her, I said, well, listen, you know, you're my mom now, you know, so you got to fulfill that role. And she's been doing that the whole time. So it's been great.
That's beautiful. How beautiful is that? And the extension of the community. That's really wonderful. Thank you. So, Marlowe, how do you want us to see you?
Wow. Great question. I want to be seen as, you know, someone who, you know, doesn't seek the spotlight, someone that doesn't try to make the most outlandish statements, you know, someone who, you know, is out there trying to be a media or social media superstar. That's not on my radar, but I actually want to be a person who's actually out there making a difference in people's lives. One of the things that I'm super proud of is, as a big brother in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, I've had a little brother that I've been paired with literally for the last 9 years. So I've literally seen this kid grow up. So ironically, as I mentioned, my daughter is a freshman in college. My little brother is literally 6 days older than my daughter. So, you know, the running joke around my house is that, you know, my last name is pretty common, Smith. His last name is also Smith. So my wife jokes around and says, hey, you know, is this your kid that I didn't know about, or something like that? But it's like the funniest thing. But, you know, we really are like, you know, peas in a pod. And I'm so proud of this young man, you know, come from, you know, different circumstances than I, you know, but Philadelphia native himself, always focused in on education. I'll never forget, I met him when he was in 4th grade, literally 30 seconds in to me meeting him. He told me, I want to grow up. I want to go to college I want to get a good job. I want to help out my family. First 30 seconds of me meeting this kid, I was like, huh? Like, who are you? And like, where'd you come from? And I was like, listen, buddy, look, I don't even know if I could spell college when I was in fourth grade, let alone talk about going. So I said, listen, I'm here for you. I said, any and everything I can do, I'm going to make sure you're able to achieve your dreams. And, I'm so proud of him. He actually started college this year as well. He's at Drexel University. So I couldn't be prouder of the kid if he was my own. So, that's, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but that's actually one of the things I'm most proud of. And, it's one of the things that I want people to say is that, when you think about Marlowe Smith, he's a person who took his gifts, took his talents, was able to impart the wisdom that he had to young people to positively impact their lives. And I've actually gotten some really good feedback. So I'll just let you know, Val, because since we're friends, I'm actually in the process of writing a book on civic leadership. And I've gone back and I've interviewed folks like my little brother and some other people I've mentored along the way. And they've told me that they remember things that I've taught them over the years, or I've showed them over the years, that has helped them to be successful. And I'm talking about, one kid's a teacher, and he's out there, now he's a coach as well. So he's mentoring young people. And he says, I remember how you did that, for me at the youth group at church. And there's another young man who's just completed law school, just graduated Penn Law. And he's got his own family. And now he's working up in New York City. And they just had their first child, a son. So, again, I'm just blown away. And got another kid who's studying to be a doctor. He's studying in Puerto Rico to be an eye doctor, an optometrist. So, all these tentacles, all these people's lives that I've kind of like sown seeds into, and I see them doing great. It's just, it's like the greatest feeling ever. And my wife knows that's my passion. And she, I know sometimes it probably, impedes a little bit on our family time, but, I know she knows that the greater good is, definitely there. And, she's very supportive. So is my family. And I love and appreciate them for that.
That's really beautiful. How beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. It's really wonderful. So, Marlowe, what is your epic dream?
Wow. It's a great question. So, I'm in corporate America, but, I would love to be, at some point successful enough, with some of my side ventures to be able to, stop doing that and to, maybe do some of the mentoring that I do more full time. Like I said, I love mentoring, but, right now I got responsibilities, mortgage, kids in school, I got retirement on the horizon, so, if I had the means, I think I definitely would, try to do something more toward the mentoring aspect on a, more of a full-time basis as opposed to what I do now on a, part-time weekend, night kind of thing. So, that would be my ultimate goal. Like I said, dabble a little bit in some real estate, got some investment property, and it's not just me, my wife and I. So she'll beat me up if I leave her out on that one. And, that, and then, like I said, doing the book and, doing other things, but, that's not, really why I do what I do. One of the other things, in addition to the mentoring, I actually created like a college and career kind of presentation that I do. Typically do it for, the audiences, for the youth at my church. But I've been, done it for some other folks externally as well. And it's just to try to get people some of the knowledge, because I really believe that people have the potential. They have the ability, but a lot of times they just don't know what's the first step. They don't know anybody in their circle that may have gone to college. They may not know anyone in their circle that's ever gone to a trade school. a lot of the kids I meet, their parents might work in retail, or, they might work in some sort of service industry, whether it be a restaurant or, cleaning or whatever it might be. So they're not really exposed to people who might have a 9-to-5 job or a non-traditional kind of a job that they're just not aware of. So, like I said, I think the ability is there. So I always just try to open up new avenues, show people new things. I'm one of those, each one, teach one, each one, reach one kind of person where, I've been blessed. I know that. I know I've had a, really good life. I know I've had great mentors. I know I had great parents, great friends. So I've gotten this knowledge. Hey, let me impart this upon you. Now I want you to take that and impart it upon others, so that just like when let's say a pebble thrown into the pond, right, where it just creates those ripples and it just keeps going on infinitely. Even though the ones you can't see it goes all the way over to the other side of the pond. And that's really what I want to try to create with my life.
That's really beautiful. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So our question 5 is, Mr. Marlowe Smith, who are you?
Wow. Who am I? Fun-loving guy. I enjoy, sports, playing sports. Still, even though I'm not a young guy, I still get out there and play basketball and toss around the football with my son and his friends. When I talk to a lot of my friends in my peer group, a lot of them, they're pretty much out of the game. They don't do anything physical anymore. So I try to be as active as long as I can be. That's a goal of mine. I'll tell you a funny story. When I was a young kid, I was maybe 15 or 16. And there was an older gentleman that was on the basketball court. And, after the game was over, I had to ask him, I said, "Excuse me, sir." I was like, "How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?" And he told me he was like 75 years old. I was like, "Wow." I said, "You're still out here?" I mean, he's out here with like teenagers, right? He could have been there like great granddad. I'm like, wow, like, how, A, why are you doing it? B, how do you do it? And C, what gives you the drive and motivation? He said, "Listen, I'm alive just like you are." He said, "I want to be out here." I said, "I love the sport. I love, getting out and getting some exercise. So why not?" And I was like, "Hey, that's a great attitude." So, I kind of took that and just, put that in the memory banks. And I was like, hey, if that guy can do it at 77, why can't I at 48? Right. So, that's the way I look at it. And, I guess it helps too that, I'm pretty good at it. So, I'm not out there embarrassing myself or anything like that. So it's always good to, get out and use it while you can. So I know a lot of people wish they could do it. So I'm still doing it. And so, that's me with the sports. And then, I enjoy politics, enjoy the news. I enjoy playing games, enjoy spending time with friends, dining, all those things, just overall kind of a fun guy. I just, like to be with people and do things that are fun.
That's awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much. So here we are already at question 6, which is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't, or you wanted me to ask you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
Yeah, I mean, no, I think a lot of times when you get interviewed, you get, questions. Sometimes, people always want to talk about the highlights, right? But, I think sometimes our highlights come from, challenges, things that maybe weren't as easy that you had to, kind of overcome or go through. So I'd probably say, a question, geared towards, some of your, one of your biggest challenges or some of your greatest obstacles and how you were able to overcome it. I think that always gives, a little bit more insight, to the people, because, I always think back to some of the superhero movies, like Spider-Man, right? For instance, he only started to fight crime because his uncle got killed when he didn't help out, the police when they were trying to stop a bad guy, right? So you can see why he kind of feels like indebted now to do, good things as opposed to just, kind of laying back and having powers, but not really, using them for good, if you will. So, that's sort of the thing I would say. But, in real life, obviously, there's no superheroes. I mean, we are our superheroes. So I think that a lot of times people don't realize that they actually have the power within themselves to do great things. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing, is to just give people the opportunity to be great, because you don't know that you can do something until someone has some belief in you. And I think belief is the greatest, superpower that we have. If you look at the Bible, I'm a Christian, so put that out there. And one of the things I noticed is, if you read the New Testament, throughout the life of Jesus, when he was out, teaching people, the people that actually got miracles, answered, and they got things that done for them, were the people that believed. You had to have faith. Like, if you don't have faith, if you don't have that belief, in a lot of cases, those are ones that didn't get their prayers answered, right? I never forget that, that all those folks that got the blessings were the ones that had crazy, crazy faith, crazy, crazy belief. And, if you have that and you put some action behind it, that's the powerful thing. So, but if you don't, I think you're just wishing at that point, as opposed to having true faith and true belief, which will, sustain you.
That's awesome. So you have the floor. I'm going to ask you, was that the answer to the question that you wish I'd asked you, which is, I believe what you said was, what are your greatest challenges, or how do you overcome your greatest challenges? Have you answered that question?
I don't think I actually answered that question, but to answer that question, I think my greatest challenge is, as a young guy, my parents, they put a lot of responsibility on me. Like, they always expected me to do great things. So I always kind of felt like I was living up to, this super high level of expectation that I had to attain, had to achieve. And, I was never afraid of it, but, it would make you think, like, if you came home with a bad grade, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't meet the mark. I didn't do what they were asking me to do. And, so you can sometimes internally, take that and, kind of be deflated, because you're like, oh man, I'm not what they want me to be. I'm disappointing them. I'm not, living up to this or that. And again, like I said, the way my mom was, oh, that's okay, baby. Don't worry about it. I know you'll do better, next time. My dad's like, oh, you need to get that B up to an A. So I was like, okay. So like I said, that yin and yang, so it's good that I had both. But, sometimes I think that was the toughest part. And then, like I said, I think in a greater sense, ironically, I think that kind of drove me to be good. But, sometimes, like I said, I think it could have led to, some areas where you may not be as confident in your own abilities. Because again, love my dad, love my mom. Dad wasn't always the guy who would be the one there with the comforting words. He tried to motivate by, with some like harsh words, I'll say, as opposed to, attaboys or you go get them next time kind of language. So that was like, for me, I think the toughest challenge I had growing up. And, even a little bit as I got older, it kind of affected, some of the relationships I had. If I kind of perceived someone as being a little more rough or as some people like say, keeping it real, I maybe kind of shy away from, folks like that, because it kind of reminded me, I guess, of more of, more being like a critical kind of a interaction than a helpful, nurturing kind of an action. So that for me, I think would have been my greatest challenge. And like I said, I think things like that, I think sometimes people don't realize that it affects you when you're young, but you still carry that on with you as you get older. And like I said, I'm approaching middle age, but, I'm still, I guess battling a little bit of that sometimes, whether it be, at work, or whether it be, oh, now I'm a councilman, like, am I really doing a great job? Like, even though you're taking those steps, even though you're doing the right things, I think there's always that little piece of you that says, well, are you really doing your best? Are you really doing a great job? But yeah, I know you've got these accomplishments, you got these awards, you got these, these things that you got under your belt, these accolades, et cetera. But, you're always, I think, always your greatest critic. So I think that's where it still, can be a struggle. And like I said, but at least I think that the good thing for me is I actually am self-aware and self-introspective enough to understand what it is and try to take, different actions so it doesn't, take me off into a different path.
Yeah, I get that. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for bringing all of this up, because that was, there are lots of folks, lots of us who struggle with that, right? Like, we all have to overcome something in our lives, and particularly that happened to us in our childhood, to be able to live fully in our potential. So thank you so much for bringing that up. And thank you for this entire interview. I have really appreciated hearing your passion of wanting to make the world a better place and passing things on to generations behind you, not just in your nuclear family, but the people who come in contact with you, particularly young people. And so it's been really wonderful to hear that. And I just honor you, my king, and I pray that God will continue absolutely to develop you and grow you and deepen the work that you do and your influence, Councilman, as well as for your book. And I just really appreciate you being here today. And thank you for joining us. I hope that you were as inspired as I was with this interview. And I ask if there is a positive Black man, a king in your life that you want to see highlighted in this forum, please click the link below or in my bio, click the nomination form, and I will take it from there. In the meantime, please stay tuned next week for another amazing king. And remember, please, to spread love and have a great day. Thanks so much. And Marlowe, thank you so much. That was really
so much, Val. I appreciate it. Hey, listen, can I just give one quick shout out? I got to give a shout out to my brother, Lamar Relentless Smith. He obviously, is the one that let me know about you. I know he's spoken with you before, and that's my guy. I love that man. That's my brother. We're like this, and have been since the beginning. And honestly, I think he was like the first person I probably mentored. And he and I, we've me being the older brother, he being the younger brother. But like I said, we're like, like twins. People see us, they think we're twins. So it's the funniest thing.
Well, it's funny because people who have been watching this will be like, wait, didn't we talk to him before? And I was waiting. I was wondering if you were going to mention it. But yes, indeed. And in fact, it was so beautiful because Lamar actually shouted you out so well in his interview. And so it's so great for you to bookend it and to honor him too. So it's really wonderful, and family means everything. And so it's so great. And while your mom has passed on, she has left a beautiful legacy in her young men. And so I just, again, thank you so much. And I just really just look forward to hearing what else you're going to do. And so thank you all again, and take good care. Thank you so much, Marlowe. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Have a great one.